Breaking news here in Batshit Bonkers, Britain, where productivity in the UK is about to be downgraded once again because businesses can no longer afford to do business and businesses can no longer afford to employ anybody because it's too expensive to employ anyone. Rachel Reeves, ceramic bobhead, hair by Lego, is expected to try and plug that £20 billion black hole by taxing the businesses that can no longer afford to be in business anymore and going for the savings of people who used to be employed but can't be employed anymore because it's too expensive to employ them. And that, kids, is why you must never lie on your CV. In other news, the Ethiopian that was deliberately released from prison is back inside. David Lammy says we shouldn't think of this as a monumental cock-up, but more of a little exercise programme for our friendly Ethiopians, you know, in the manner of, say, a randy dog being let out for a little walk before bedtime. And finally, Reform MP Sarah Pochin, supposed to be in the shit for stating the bloody obvious that there is over-representation of black people and Muslim people in TV adverts. You know, Zia Yusuf will be loving this because he called her dumb, and that's what caused him to flounce off from Reform not so very long ago. Either way, I've got to go because I think I can hear my black husband calling me. I keep him in the cupboard like we all do. And also my disabled Muslim child needs me as well. He's lactose intolerant, gluten-free, and also a bi-curious gay ally with a nut allergy. So his needs are many. That's it. Batshit Bonkers Britain.
Katie Hopkins' monologue in Batshit Bonkers Britain is a textbook example of scathing political satire, a mix of dark humor, social commentary, and unapologetic mockery aimed at what she sees as the absurdity of modern Britain. Through her trademark sarcasm, Hopkins paints a portrait of a country that has lost its common sense, where economic incompetence, political hypocrisy, and performative wokeness have replaced productivity, honesty, and realism. The first part of her rant focuses on Britain's economic dysfunction. Hopkins highlights the irony of a nation where businesses can no longer afford to do business and where hiring people is now too expensive. Her jab at Rachel Reeves, described with biting wit as having ceramic Lego hair, symbolizes what Hopkins perceives as the artificiality and tone deafness of the political elite. By mocking Reeves' plan to fill a £20 billion black hole through higher taxes, Hopkins frames the Labour Party's fiscal strategy as self-defeating, punishing the very people and companies already on the brink of collapse. Then, she pivots into social satire, targeting the government's handling of immigration and political correctness. Her reference to the Ethiopian prisoner deliberately released and later back inside becomes a metaphor for bureaucratic incompetence, while her analogy of a randy dog being let out for a walk delivers an intentionally shocking image designed to ridicule how softly the system treats failures. Here, Hopkins' cruelty is deliberate. She's weaponizing offense to make a larger point about what she sees as Britain's moral confusion and fear of being called racist. The closing section is Hopkins at her most unrestrained, a theatrical caricature of Britain's identity politics. Her lines about my black husband in the cupboard and her disabled Muslim child who's gluten-free, lactose intolerant, and bi-curious with a nut allergy push absurdity to its extreme. It's not meant to be literal. It's an exaggerated lampooning of performative virtue, signaling the culture of loudly broadcasting one's tolerance, inclusivity, and moral superiority to score social points. By stacking every progressive identity label into one over the top punchline, she exposes what she considers the hollowness of this modern obsession with representation. In essence, Batshit Bonkers Britain is a furious love letter to a country Hopkins believes has gone mad. Part comedy, part tragedy. Beneath the outrageous jokes and provocative tone lies a clear frustration with a society paralyzed by bureaucracy, burdened by taxes, and blinded by self-righteousness. Whether one finds her hilarious or hateful, The speech succeeds in doing what all great satire must. It provokes, disturbs, and forces the audience to think, even if they hate what they hear.
We'll make sure the wider system outside Whitehall also respects the mandate of the government. Nigel Farage will not let established conventions or vested interests or bogus appeals to higher authorities than the will of Parliament get in the way of the plan that has been accepted by the public in a general election. We want to restore the proper basis of our democracy, whereby public servants answer to ministers who answer to Parliament. We don't come with a chainsaw or a wrecking ball. We respect the institutions of the country, the armed forces, the police, the church, the judiciary, and we respect the professionalism and expertise of the people who work in them, so long as those people respect in their turn the right of Parliament and of ministers to make the rules they work by. That means ensuring the House of Lords does not obstruct legislation passed by the Commons. It means stopping public sector unions sabotaging the reforms the public rightly demands. And it means exiting international legal conventions and changing the rules on judicial review that allow judges to countermand the decisions of the government. The price of judicial independence is that the courts should be genuinely non-political, without the power to apply their own notions of what the law should be, let alone to block or reverse decisions rightly made by the government. That is the real rule of law, the independent application of laws made by Parliament. So to recap, we will be ready for government, we will grip the Whitehall machine, and we won't let the wider system stop us. And this is my fourth and final point. The institution we respect the most is our sovereign Parliament. International law and the civil service and the quangocracy and the trades unions, they are not there to second-guess the government. But Parliament is. Now, Reform UK is not best pleased with the current Parliament. Yet, what was Brexit for? What are our elections for, if not to establish and empower our sovereign Parliament? Reform UK will restore parliamentary government. That means using its existing powers, as Nigel suggested we do yesterday, to set up a proper parliamentary commission to look at the grooming gangs. And it means restoring the role of Parliament as the proper legislative body of the country. Our immediate priorities require legislation that, backed by our election mandate, we will pass as fast as we can. But alongside this rightful urgency, we will reform Parliament to ensure it does its proper job to scrutinise bills and hold the government to account on behalf of the public. Let me finish with a call to action. We need help now as we prepare for government. Zia Youssef and my parliamentary colleagues and I are setting up a series of advisory groups and sounding boards to gather insights into how things work and how they need to change. I'm publishing a blog today setting out what I've been saying in greater detail. If you feel you can contribute publicly or privately, please get in touch with us, because I can't stress enough the weight of responsibility, the importance of the mission that Nigel, Zia, Richard and the rest of us have taken on. The fundamental reason that people are increasingly backing reform is because they believe us when we say we will bring change. In 2016 with Brexit, in 2019 with Boris Johnson, people voted for change, but they got chaos and stasis, crisis and drift. The current government came into office promising change, but everything has carried on as before, indeed worse. And I'm not sure our democracy can stand another government promising change and delivering failure. I know Nigel Farage is determined to be different, but to help him be the Prime Minister the country so badly needs him to be, we need the country's help. So if you want to help get the pirate ship reform transformed into HMS reform ready to govern, then please join us. Step up, step forward, get involved. Britain needs reform, and reform needs you.